How's it going, guys? Right now you're watching some of the God of War gameplay in the background. This time around I've got to talk about a little bit more about this game. I want to say the most pretty much one or is the most successful games ever out there. Basically, let's talk about Sony Santa Monica has successfully changed Kratos' public image. For the last 13 years, the world has seen Kratos as a flat character. He's been the butt of the million jokes aimed at his rage, brutality, and inability to speak with his inside voice. Few saw him as a generate dynamic emotions in a response to everything around him, instead opting to rip his enemies to shreds and fill the world of Greek mythology with more blood than it could hold. He's rarely been seen as a well-developed character outside of those who looked closely and followed his character arc over the course of 6 games, but even then, there was surprisingly little development during the sheer volume of story told. The problem has never been Kratos' motivation. Before becoming the ghost of Sparta, Kratos met the love of his life, Lysandra, and they had a daughter, Calliope. Calliope was afflicted with a plague, and Kratos risked his life to, acquiring the elixir to save her. Sometime later, the god of war Ares tricked him into murdering his own wife and child in a blind rage, resulting in a village oracle binding the ashes of his slain loved ones into his skin. Kratos constantly suffered from the unrelenting nightmares of this fateful moment. Even after killing those he felt were responsible, including Ares himself, the nightmares would not abate. Kratos became the next god of war, but with all the tragedies in his life still fueling him, he's become a stagnant character obsessed with bloodlust. The pantheon of Greek gods came to regret their decision, as Kratos began initiating constant warfare. So Zeus sapped Kratos of his godly powers and killed him with a blade of Olympus. From this point on, Kratos became one-dimensional and single-minded. He wanted to kill Zeus and any god creature, human or otherwise, that got in his way. He slaughtered the Fates, ripped off Helios' head to use as a lantern, and eventually reached his goal. He murdered Zeus, his own father. There was a depth to Kratos, and some genuinely well-plotted motivations in parts of the overall narrative. But the perceptions of Kratos being this angry brute wasn't entirely uncalled for. There was a sorrow and suffering inside of Kratos, but this was all overshadowed by his Spartan rage. Now, this is a pretty much spoiler section I'm gonna get into, and so be warned, I guess. It's been a while anyway, so I guess you're okay with that, hopefully. Flash forward in the determined number of years and travel from Greece to Scandinavia, and Kratos is still the same character, but with much more dynamic range of emotions. In a new God of War, Kratos begins his journey by cremating his second wife, Freya, with the assistance of their son, Atreus, which feeling he allows to come to the surface as minor and highly muted at first, but they show far more depth to his character than ever before. He gets angry at his son for being reckless when hunting, yet he holds back his rage, clearly deciding internally that this isn't the best way for him to teach his son the lessons that he must be taught. He struggles to show affection, restraining himself from placing a comfort hands on Atreus' shoulder, but with the camera hovering close by, the player sees his desire to do so. The entire game is real-time exercise in growing as a parent. Kratos remains the gruff man he's always been, but instead of showing explosive rage to the outside world, his actions are far more deliberate. He can still rip off jaws of a werewolf like a zipper, but he chooses when to do so. There are a couple of specific moments in the narrative when Atreus is in danger that Kratos dramatically enters his Spartan rage mode, showing that he's willing to be that same monster he used to be in order to save the thing that's the most important to him. He's just not screaming to the heavens of 24/7 anymore, constantly professing his hatred for the gods. He's got his kid with him, after all. It isn't this his newfound control that makes Kratos more interesting than ever before. It's his open tenderness. He spends the entirety of God of War teaching Atreus lessons, hoping to make him a better and more compassionate god than he ever could hope for to be. He's terrified to tell Atreus the truth about his godhood, knowing how much pain it brought him in his life. It's his greatest secret, but once it becomes clear that Kratos must tell Atreus about this dark part of his life in order for Atreus to survive, he makes the hard choice and comes clean. Atreus initially doesn't take this news in a healthy manner, growing self-obsessed and power-hungry in just a couple of hours. But with some thought of parenting and rough trip through hell, Kratos managed to break through to his son and showing him that being a god is much more than just being powerful. The strongest moments of emotional resonance came to be the end of the game's campaign, where the father and son square off against Baldur and his mother Freya. Freya was trying to protect her son too, when she took away his ability to feel pain. Something almost any parent would do for their child if they had their choice. This is of course foolish, and his inability to feel pain extends to his ability to feel anything. And he ultimately wants to kill his own mother for this. And Freya, being a mother, would die if that's what it would take him to get better. Atreus doesn't understand either persons in this dynamic, but Kratos has some surprisingly profound insights of that matter. He plainly declares that he would sacrifice his own life to save Atreus, and in that moment it becomes clear that Kratos has grown far beyond what any fan could expect from him after the first 6 games. There are a lot of gamers who have never played a God of War game and only dabbled in a couple before playing through this new entry. Their perception of Kratos was likely to be what has already been described, that one-dimensional rage-filled brute. It wasn't far off from the truth, but in just one game, that's not the Kratos the world sees anymore. He's compassionate, calculated, and capable of substantial growth. Most importantly, he's a god filled with love for his son. Something that's entirely of the antithetical to what has transpired previously in the series. The internet has taken this new Kratos warmly, poking fun at his idiosyncratic behavior, like his constant referral as Atreus simply as boy, which let's be honest never stops being satisfying even after he says it like 24,000 times. People has been calling this as a dad of war, and that's not entirely off base. Kratos being dad is his new defining quality, not his rage or violence. Was this grossed into the subsequent games and uncertain, but if you want to know more about this and give my own thoughts, the links are down below in the description. But the independent scene will likely see Kratos die in the Atreus' hands. These themes of fatherhood, growing into a god, and more will likely become even more impactful in the future. Kratos has always been interesting, but now he's around, dynamic in character. So Santa Monica Studio has managed to change Kratos' public image for the better, and that's a resounding win for the series. Now that's awesome. Anyway guys, if you have not noticed already, yes I have read this out through the article. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna deny the fact. I'm gonna leave down links below for this article if you want to read for yourself, but to be honest I don't see the point because I pretty much read it out. Anyway, well, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you understand, because this was a very interesting read and I felt really good about it, and I just wanted to make a video as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe as always, and peace out.